Welcome to the AM News. Details now. The Africa Center for Energy Policy is warning of a looming crisis in the power sector owing to the inability of the Electricity Company of Ghana to service the debt owed by independent power producers. The PURC, in its latest letter to the President, warned of an imminent collapse of the power distributor as debts in the energy sector continue to rise. Addressing the press on the recent developments in the energy sector, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, cited ECG management of engaging in what they identified to be the bloating of ECG's power application contracts signed with software firm Haptel, amounting to the tune of over 100 million cedis. ACEP is in this regard asking for the dismissal of the current management of the Electricity Company of Ghana.
Recovery program estimates that the realized power sector shortfalls between 2019 and 2023 were about $8.25 billion. This is sheer waste of public resources that cannot persist. In light of the above preliminary comments, ACEP recommends the following. 1. PURC should assume its regulatory functions over ECG. Specifically, the Commission should implement aggressive measures to have visibility over how much revenue is collected and spent on value chain participants and any other expenditures that may be undermining the sustainability of the sector. 2. PURC should immediately audit the Haptel contract and verify all the payments made to the company to assure value for money for the country and clarify discrepancies in cash values reported by Haptel and ECG. And finally, the current management of ECG should be relieved of their jobs and immediately replaced with effective and transparent management that will salvage the company and its attendant fiscal burden on the state and the people of Ghana.
Meanwhile, ACEP is also raising concerns about how ECG has handled its exchange rates transactions for power distribution. At the same news conference, policy lead on petroleum and conventional energy at ACEP, Kojo Yauche, the ECG has been reporting exchange rates to the Cash Waterfall Committee that are significantly higher than the interbank rates. This discrepancy, according to the group, has led to substantial financial losses for the company.
The second prime example of political settlement mechanism is exchange rate manipulations. One of the major challenges of ECG in its handling of the exchange rate for its transactions. In many instances, the exchange rate reported by ECG to the Cash Waterfall Committee was significantly higher than the interbank exchange rate. The exchange rate manipulation created a net exchange loss of about 6.5 billion Ghana cedis in 2022, which is up from 600 million in 2021 to about 7 billion Ghana cedis in 2023. ACEP, through the RTI process, requested historical exchange rates used by ECG for its transactions. The company has since May 2024 not been able to supply the requested information, stating in an August 2024 response that, and I quote, "The requested information is quite extensive and will require some time to compile. All efforts are being made to put together the information requested for submission. We acknowledge your forbearance thus far and implore your continued support as we work towards meeting the request," end quote, since May 2024. This level of manipulation undermines the ability of ECG to pay value chain and redirect public resources away from legitimate expenditure programs.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament is demanding a full-scale audit of the entire energy sector to reveal the extent of its challenges. According to minority spokesperson on energy, Jinapor, this audit will reveal several hidden problems with the energy sector and chart the path for a resolution.
Based on this report, has indicated that ECG is not abiding by the cash waterfall mechanism. And it's the cash waterfall mechanism that allows companies and entities throughout the energy sector value chain to get some revenues or payment. That has been jettisoned. As if that is not enough, the Ministry of Finance, since August 2023, has not paid up even 1 cedi for power consumed by ministries, departments, and agencies. And from our rough estimates, that debt alone balloons to 1.8 billion. Clearly, they are passing the buck, just trying to manage the system and hand over a dilapidated, aging equipment, collapsed energy sector to President Mahama when he assumes office. The energy sector debt alone, based on our rough estimates, is more than $2 billion as we speak. We therefore call for a full audit of the entire energy sector so that we would have a fair and firm appreciation of the state of indebtedness, the state of dilapidation, so that whoever assumes office would prepare to tackle the challenges. There's an attempt to sweep all the challenges under the carpet and hope that they can just cross over the next election. But that is not the way to go. We call on the ECG to restore and respect the tenets of the cash waterfall mechanism. We also call on the politicians to desist from the unnecessary political interference, which has culminated in this mess that we find ourselves.
John Jinapor says the energy sector will collapse if the ECG does not live up to its responsibilities and pay up what is due independent power producers and other stakeholders in the energy value chain.
ECG, from what PURC states, is able to account for only 42% of the revenue requirement of the sector. And so clearly, the utility is not sustainable. If we continue on this trajectory, the whole sector would collapse. As we speak, Tallow is owed more than $100 million that has not been paid. ENI is owed hundreds of millions of dollars, to the extent that ENI has called on the guarantee and government is defaulting on its debt obligation to ENI. WAPCO has also issued a letter to GMPC threatening to shut down the pipeline over accumulated debt of about $12 million. Clearly, the sector is suffocating. The energy sector is choking. The energy sector is crumbling. The energy sector is collapsing. This government has been sleeping on the job. Right from 2017, they kept on with the mantra that we have too much gas. Today, there's a shortage of gas of about 60 MMscf. Because of that, since January, they've been procuring light crude oil to the tune of about $40 million every month. So in 1 year, government will be procuring $480 million worth of light crude oil. That is enough to build another gas processing plant. But clearly, some people are benefiting from the procurement of oil, and so the interest is more on the procurement of oil rather than delivering a gas infrastructure that can process gas. Since assuming office from 2017, not even 1 kilometer of pipeline has been added by this government. The gas infrastructure, apart from what they've inherited, they haven't added any gas infrastructure. And so we are calling on government to be transparent.
The Ghana Police Service is on a collision course with Democracy Hub, organizers of the Fix the Country protest, who are set to embark on a 3-day protest starting Saturday. The police on Wednesday secured an injunction against the protest, but backtracked later in the evening, saying it was going to provide security for the protest. Yesterday, we heard from the police who have been explaining why exactly they had to go to court to get the injunction. According to the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Grace Akrofi-Ansam, they cannot allow the protest to happen at the Revolution Square, which is directly opposite the seat of the presidency, the Jubilee House, as that will endanger public safety. She spoke at a news conference earlier.
Following our assessment, police concluded that holding the demonstration at that location, that is the Revolution Square in front of the Jubilee House, could affect public order, endanger public defense, public safety, and public health. As a result, in the interest of public defense, public order, public safety, and the running of essential services, the police engaged the organizers, that is the Democracy Hub, to reconsider the location to a different place. However, the organizers refused to reconsider their proposed location and insisted that they will hold the protest at the Revolution Square in front of the Jubilee House. As a result, police was compelled to go to the court for a determination on the matter, that is the location for the proposed demonstration. Yesterday, 18 September 2024, the High Court granted an order to prohibit Democracy Hub from proceeding with the demonstration on the 21st to 23rd September at the Revolution Square.
But the police say they have opened their door to negotiations and will continue to engage the organizers to resolve the disputes with them.
The law places on the police to request them to relocate, which we have duly done. Request under subsection 4 or fail to notify the police officer in charge or a chairman of a tribunal for an order to prohibit the holding of the special event on the proposed date or at the proposed location. So this is the position of the law, which is exactly what the police have done, and we are still engaging them. The question number 2 was, how soon are we going to engage the demonstrators for a new location? Like I already mentioned, we've engaged them, we are still engaging them. We've notified them by way of a letter today that we are open and ready to sit with them once again to let them exercise their constitutional right of protest, and we also fulfill our mandate of providing security, law, and order to persons who wish so to exercise.
In other stories, small-scale gold miners persist in using mercury for extraction despite its toxic effect. Prolonged exposure to mercury can lead to severe health issues, including neurological damage, kidney failure, and even death. Experts warn that miners, as well as nearby communities, are at risk of mercury contamination of soil, water, and air. To mitigate these health and environmental risks, the experts advocate for the adoption of mercury-free technology to ensure safer mining practices. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin has more.
An alarming 90% of small-scale gold miners, both lances and unlances, rely heavily on mercury for gold extraction despite the risk. This widespread use occurs in precarious and environmentally damaging conditions, exacerbating the harm. The persistence of mercury use stems from its affordability and ease of access, making it a tempting choice for miners who often prioritize short-term gains over long-term health and environmental consequences. As a result, mercury contamination threatens not only miners' health but also nearby ecosystems, water sources, and communities. Dr. Ishmael Kwenu is a researcher at the University of Mines and Technology.
The challenge has been technology, availability of alternatives that could help them achieve the expected recovery and expected production. And the cost of this equipment has always been a challenge. But we have explained to them that it's not only about the technology we are pushing, but a shift in their mindset that in the absence of even sophisticated technology, can we find a way, in our own conventional way, of reducing or minimizing the usage of mercury?
The Environmental Protection Agency, through the Planet Gold Initiative, has launched an outreach program to educate small-scale gold miners about the importance of reducing or eliminating mercury use in gold extraction processes.
The project is trying to help to phase out the use of mercury so that it will be replaced with mercury-free technology, which they are now doing a presentation on. So that the miners will be introduced to mercury-free technology. So at the end of the day, and gradually, we will phase out the use of mercury. We know mercury is used for other purposes in the health sector and so many areas. And we have this Minamata protocol or convention that is helping to phase out mercury throughout the world.
Miners recognize mercury risk but cite accessibility and affordability concerns as obstacles to adopting mercury-free technologies.
Gold catcher, that's a gold catcher, $100,000. Ono mie ayi kolikoli baby ono akọ jina hono no ehoro kakra no akọ jina be dey 100,000.
Experts say raising awareness and providing easy access to mercury-free technology can help small-scale miners quit using mercury. A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
The acting registrar of corporate societies in Ghana, Kwabena Apraku-Yeboah, has advised members of credit unions to desist from seeking redress from the law courts on issues bothering the unions. He wants them to exhaust all internal means of conflict resolution to avoid waste of time and financial resources. Mr. Yeboah was speaking at the 42nd and 43rd Annual General Meeting of the Hydro Cooperative Credit Union at Akosombo in the Eastern Region. Edwin Kofi-Siang reports.
The annual general meeting, which covered 3 financial years, was on the theme Building Resilient Hydro Cooperative Credit Union in a Competitive Market Environment. Established in 1971, the union was owned and controlled by the staff of the Volta River Authority. However, it now has a membership of over 14,000, including VRA, GridCo, and Bui Power Authority staff, who form majority. Other members include public and private workers, individuals, churches, and small-scale and medium-scale enterprises, with a total asset of over 160 million Ghana cedis. In his welcome address, board chairman of the Hydro Cooperative Credit Union, Joseph Asari Keteku, assured members of the union's efforts at recovering a 16 million cedis locked-up funds with investment firms.
Our SIC Financial Services, we have about 10.5 million Ghana cedis locked up. NTHC Financial Services have about 2.1 million Ghana cedis. Gold Coast Security Management, also we have about 2.2 million Ghana cedis. Relatively put together, about 16 million has been locked up.
On the spot, the acting registrar of the cooperative societies, Kwabena Apraku-Yeboah, advised members of credit unions to resist the temptation of seeking redress at the law court, since the cooperative laws enjoins members to exhaust all internal means of conflict resolution.
That if we write court with our issues, we incur costs with regard to legal fees, we have to pay to lawyers and the filing processes at the court. Meanwhile, your cooperative that you take to court is going to use the funds that you have contributed in the cooperative to fight the case. Let us therefore familiarize ourselves with the provisions for grievance handling in our bylaws so that we save ourselves totally avoidable expenditures.
The General Manager, Edward Ajakwa, revealed to Joy News that the union declared a total dividend of over 25 million Ghana cedis from July to December 2021, 2022, and 2023 financial years, out of which 49% was declared to the shareholders. For Joy News, Kofi Sian Akosombo.
It's now time for our business updates with Benjamin Akakbo.
Welcome aboard. If you are ready for our business updates, then let's take it away. In our first story, take a relook at taxes on agro inputs and further subsidize fertilizers to boost cocoa production. That's the call from the Peasant Farmers Association to the government. According to the farmers, the cocoa sector will continue to decline if these challenges are not addressed. Former Executive Director of the association, Charles Nyaba, told Joy Business that a deliberate effort was needed to revitalize cocoa production.
One of the key things that we need to do, which is within the control of our policymakers or government, has to do with imposing of taxes on agro inputs, farm machineries, and then other agrochemicals. You know, majority of the inputs that we use for production, for instance, the pesticides, the weedicides, the fertilizers, about 90% is imported. Previously, if you were bringing inputs for farm activities, it was with duty-free. Now we pay duty like any other commodity. As a result, the prices have gone high. This year, at the beginning of the year, there were a lot of importers who brought in inputs. They couldn't actually clear them at the port. Fertilizer that we used to buy at 300 Ghana cedis, as a result of the duties, is now going around 540 Ghana cedis at the port. So one of the strategies government need to do is actually to look into that. The subsidy was also good. You know, when we say this, people always think that farmers want it for themselves. If you subsidize agriculture inputs or machineries, you are subsidizing for consumers, you are strengthening your economy. This is because once the cost of production comes down as a result of subsidy, many farmers who were originally not farming or are not able to expand their farm sizes will go in because cost of production will be low. Right. Those who are already in will also will develop a type of using appropriate quantity of inputs to apply on their farm, leading to increase in yields. So that's one of the areas that we need to look at.
In our next story, the managing director of Republic Bank Ghana, Benjamin Joboku, has attributed the bank's strong 2023 financial performance to effectively managing non-performing loans and growing deposits by 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. He also credited the bank's leadership in mortgages. Speaking at the bank's 33rd annual general meeting, Mr. Joboku highlighted plans to develop competitive schemes to support micro, small, and medium businesses.
If you look at 2022, we made loss because of the DDEP. But 2023, we posted a huge profit, 145 million, against a loss of 66 million last year. And this is basically because of the level of growth in our deposit. We grew our deposit about 1.9 billion. So you see a growth of about 1.8 billion in the total assets. And as the industry non-performing loan was about 20.6, we did about 15.9, which means that we are below the industry in terms of non-performing loan. So you see that because we're able to manage our non-performing loan, our net interest income was very healthy. Net interest income margin was about 9% as against last year. So it's basically the focus, as I indicated last year, that we've gone back to base, where we are looking at our mortgage. Now we are the leading mortgage provider in the country, and we are also targeting the SME and corporate business as well. Republic Bank has been in existence over 187 years, so they have the capability which we are leveraging on that expertise to grow the SME business. And for the next 5 years, the strategy is the SME. You know, that is the backbone of the economy. But all the financial institutions, they've neglected that space. But because of the experience that we have in Republic Financial Holding, I believe that we are bringing that expertise to the Ghanaian market. If you look at the credit card, we have taken that space because of the experience, and we'll do the same thing the next 5 years in the SME side of the economy.
And that's our recap of our business updates. But as I hand over to Sweetie Abochi, I'll leave you with our currency market updates.
And that is how we are wrapping up for the news bulletin, the AM News on the AM Show. You want to stay with us because the conversation is starting with the news review coming up shortly.